Apparently, when I film something on here, to me, I it looks backwards. But then when I played it back, it was not backwards. So that's funny. Um, I want to read the little bit from the front here. This talks about the book and um, Bram Stoker. Okay, Dracula, a most unusual novel that brought the perverse horrors of medieval European superstitions about vampires into the respectable, tradition-steeped but modernizing lives of Victorian England's gentlemen and ladies, was the surprising product of the imagination of Abraham Stoker, a man whose other undertakings gave no hint that he would create such an enduring icon of popular culture. Not only was the novel a bestseller in several languages, it was the basis for a 1927 play that toured the United States for 2 years and a 1931 film. In both, the vampire was rivetingly portrayed by actor Bela Lugosi, whose birthplace was very near Transylvania, close to the changeable border between Hungary and Romania. More than a century after its first publication, Dracula remains a touchstone for the varied and ever-renewed vampire genre. The structure of the novel, a carefully interlaced web of journal and diary entries, letters, and newspaper reports, is not original, but very effectively conveys the complex details of a constantly surprising story. The lively narratives from diverse sources maintain suspense, pace the disclosure of new aspects of the dilemma, and provide the perspectives of several participants in the drama, while revealing much about their personalities and describing the diverse settings of the tale, from eerie Transylvania to a small quaint English fishing port to the bustle of London's Piccadilly. A masterstroke is the insertion of excerpts from the logbook of the fateful voyage of the Demeter, as the Russian captain's heartrending account gives yet another dimension to the saga. Although the human characters in Dracula are conventional, well-bred English men and women, full of high sentiments and of appreciation for the fine qualities of persons of the other gender, the writer does not ignore the budding influence of turn of this 19th century feminism. He is clever enough to attribute to Mina Murray, rather than to any of the gallant protective males, the wry thoughts on how the new woman would behave in the circumstances in which she finds herself. The benevolent, wise, and shrewd Dutch medical professor is made to speak ridiculously fractured English, but this learned elder never is lampooned. In fact, he provides the esoteric knowledge and the practical plans without which the chivalrous band would have been impotent in their righteous zeal. In like manner, Quincy Morris, the courtly but colorful Texan, who is more overtly combative than his buttoned-down English companions, never is parodied, but is shown to be simply another sort of very good fellow. Dracula is provocative on many levels, exploring the attitudes toward religion, superstition, science, psychology, ethics, gender roles, and romance of ordinary English upper and middle class people, male goodness and solidarity, as well as the supreme rightness of heterosexual partnerships, are prominent themes of this intricately plotted but archetypically simple tale of wholesome love and courage overcoming evil, malice, and fear. The three young men who join with Jonathan Harker in a desperate struggle to destroy the vampire have in common the fact that each of them wanted to marry Mina's friend Lucy, a young woman distinguished more for tender feelings than for a penetrating intellect. In contrast, Mina, who as Jonathan's wife becomes the personification of chastely beloved womanhood for the others, is described as having intellect and energy found in an exceptionally talented man, together with the nurturing qualities claimed to be both ideal and typical in females. Among the rather unlikely group of men that forms to worship at the altar of pure selfless maternal womanhood, represented by Mina, each male has distinctive personal qualities and indeed idiosyncrasies. The impressive courage shown by every one of them is more striking because the terror inspired by their supernatural antagonist is acknowledged. At the outset, during Jonathan Harker's sojourn within Castle Dracula, he variously cries, quakes, despairs, faints, and feels himself losing his ability to reason as he is faced with ever more dreadful dangers. Bram Stoker, who was born in Dublin in 1847 and died in London in 1912, was a sickly child who could not stand unaided until the age of 7, but a dozen years later he was a talented athlete who excelled at rugby while studying at the University of Dublin. After working in the civil service in Ireland for a decade and writing drama criticism for a major newspaper, he spent nearly three decades writing tens of thousands of letters and handling many other duties as business manager for the renowned actor Sir Henry Irving. 7 years prior to the first publication of Dracula, Stoker's first novel, The Snake's Pass, appeared in 1890. After 1900, several more of his novels were published, but none of them approached Dracula in quality or popularity.